Hello and welcome to Two Girls in a Pod. I'm Sharon.
I'm Christy.
Happy New Year to everybody. We really hope that everybody's New Year is starting out well. And as we talk, it's the new year. People are doing resolutions, doing all that kind of stuff. But today we're going to talk about why do New Year's resolutions fail? Can they be successful? Absolutely. But I think there's so much that goes into making a successful resolution. I don't know if I like the word resolution because so many people look at things like, I'm going to stop sugar, or I'm going to stop soda, or I'm going to stop, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they have no plan.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's what people run into with it usually. And, it's because they're always using a projected forward time to start something. It's like the person that says, I'm going to start working out on Monday, the Monday that never comes, you know what I mean? So I think that people will go throughout the year and they'll say about putting it off until after the holidays or those kinds of things. But really, I think that it just is, if you're not of the right mindset, it's not going to happen even in that time. And a lot of times I think it's because, too, we see it as it ends up being sort of a short-term thing in our mind when we think of it that way.
Well, and I think the other thing is, too, we look at this social construct of our year starts on January 1st. Mm-hmm. If we're doing something, our year can start on February 1st. March, it doesn't matter. It's whatever that start date is. That's why we have anniversary years. And I think the thing is that people jump into this, because so many people do it. It's almost like a trendy thing in a way. What's your New Year's resolution? Well, I'm going to get up and work out, 3 days a week, or I'm going to lose 35 pounds, or, stop sugar, or whatever it is. But once again, I think the thing is that they don't have a plan, because it's one of those things of, oh yeah, it's a New Year's resolution. I'm just going to do this. But with anything, there's a plan. We talk about that a lot, for stuff. It's a step down thing. You have to do things in a different kind of progression in order to make it successful. Mm-hmm. One of the things we know is that as soon as you say, okay, well, I'm going to stop all sugar, or I'm going to stop all soda, or I'm going to become vegan or vegetarian, or our body goes into a panic. Like, what do you mean you're going to take all that good stuff from me?
Goes into panic mode, and then you just want to hoard everything. So it's, yeah.
Well, we tend not to be as successful. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing is that in order to be successful with whatever it is, I think it's great when people sit there and say, I want to change something in my life. I want to do something more positive. I want to be more proactive. I think it's great. I don't think it has to be January 1st. I think it could be any time of the year.
If you intend to do something for yourself, it doesn't have to be the first of the year. It doesn't even have to start on a Monday. It can just
what?
You can start today.
Don't listen to those words, no. But I think there is truth to that, and I mean, we talk about that often because even when we're talking about we're going to start something, we don't say, well, we're going to give up something. We always say we're going to add something to this. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we decrease whatever it is. I was talking to my clients yesterday, and I was talking to them about our brain and how it really interprets and hears messages. It is brilliant, but man, can we mess it up with just a simple word, because we will put our semantic to it, and then it changes the whole thing. It's like somebody might be paying you a compliment, but wherever your brain goes, it's something else, or things like that. And because it is like that, it's important for when we are giving those messages to the brain, we're giving them in a positive, encouraging way, but also something that the brain can hold on to as something that's realistic. Mm-hmm. The person who sits there and says, well, I'm going to give up smoking or drinking. You better have a plan in place. Mm-hmm. I think that if you have a very strong mindset, I think you can.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that it's impossible to go cold turkey on some things, but I think that you can be so much more successful if you take the time to actually plan it out, like you say. I mean, if it's something you need to schedule time for or that, you have to actually look at that and have that plan in place. Otherwise, when the first gets here, it's going to be out the window if you don't make that time for it.
Exactly. It's funny because when I was thinking about that, when I said you can't just stop something, It reminded me of a story my dad was telling us when he was in the military. He was in the Army, and, whenever they had a little bit of R&R, his first thing was to go lay down, take a nap. Well, who doesn't? Especially if you're in the military. But he said he was a smoker. And he remembers laying down, and for some reason, he put his hands like by his, the top front of his face, and he smelled the cigarette smoke on the nicotine, and he didn't like it. He quit smoking. And it was that smell.
Just that right away thing, yeah.
Yeah. But so, that, I guess the strong smell of that outweighed his need for the cigarette, because, hey, it's whatever motivates us. But, that's what it is. But there was another variable involved in that. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that can definitely happen. I know, something as insignificant as biting my nails. I used to do that growing up. Bad. And I just all of a sudden decided I was not going to bite my nails anymore. And I did. I stopped. I haven't done that in a long time.
And that's what I mean. But the mindset has to truly change.
Yeah.
There has to be a really true pivotal change, not just this verbiage that we put out. Well, I'm going to be more healthy. Mm-hmm. You can feel a shift in your brain.
And that's too vague. You have to be specific, I think.
Yeah, you were very clear. You didn't say, I'm not going to chew my nails except on Mondays and Fridays. It was all or nothing, man.
No, but I think that
no, but you're
when
right.
you make a generalized statement that you're going to change something or that, or I'm going to be more organized or that, but really put a plan in place. And I know for me, that's one of the biggest, going into this year, I have said that if ever there's a New Year's resolution, I'm going to be more organized. Yeah. So, but I actually did start even before beginning of the year. I straightened up my office. And
she did.
So see, I started taking those steps toward that.
Yes. And I noticed.
Thanks.
Well, it is. Because it is something you've talked about, but it's something that, and it's so interesting because we will dedicate time to something. It's how we prioritize in our head. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this and, the people who listen, you prioritize your workout. It's up there. It's even above me, y'all. It's above me. It's above the dog. We've learned our place. But, no, all kidding aside, when you prioritize that, but yet it's hard for people to make the quality of being organized is as important as my workout, or going for a walk is as important as much as what I eat. It's like we have this weird hierarchy in our brain. And so it really is a process of sitting down and kind of slowing everything down and then saying, what are the steps I need to do? Yeah. When I'm working with people on business plans or things like that, you can't look 5 years in advance because we still have to have a plan. What are you going to do to get there? What is going to be some of those things?
You want to keep the goal as your focus, but it can't be that all of your focus becomes just the end result. It has to have those steps in there in order to get to that, to achieve it.
And, I'm always talking with my clients about this. Appreciate the process. Yeah. Because there's so much growth in the process. It is through the process that we have growth.
Well, you learn so much. You can learn easier ways of reaching your goal.
And I think that's what I'm saying is that if you put a process in place, then you're more apt to be successful. The other thing is don't do it alone. One of my clients, he's got his New Year's resolution. I don't even know if he calls it a resolution, but to start walking more and stuff. And so what he did he enlisted a friend to help him with the accountability. So it's like, did you do your treadmill this morning? So he's adjusted his schedule even for it. And he's pretty happy. He's 3 days in and he's done it. Right. So that's where it starts. I was even telling you, our friend Sandra, we've mentioned her, our little traveling buddy in that. But one of the things I used to love is Sandra would do little challenges with me. And I don't know what it is in my head. And I know it's all in my head, y'all. But she does that and I'm there like, oh my God, because there's accountability, I would have to send her a thumbs up when I finished it. And if I was going along my day and I realized I didn't send her that thumbs up, I'd be like, oh God, I got to stop. I got to do, whatever, whether it's a crunch challenge or a squat challenge or whatever that was. Mm-hmm. But it motivated me. So I think I might need more challenges again. But once again, it's just kind of how your brain works and how you apply all that stuff. But once again,
and whatever you can put in place to motivate you, that's
why having a buddy do it with you, because even though we don't get to work out together as much because you work out while I'm in session, but we still walk together, and when it's spring and summer, we hike together, we're outdoors and doing stuff like that together. But it's having that encouragement, having those people tracking and following with you, whatever it is, and it could be even organization or whatever, unless you're me and Christy, because then it don't work. Because if I tell her you need, about organization, she don't listen.
You help me go over my 3 main priorities for the day. And so it helps me set my intention. Yeah.
And I told her, and this is the other thing that we forget is that, when we're doing these things and we're trying to make a resolution, oftentimes a resolution does not just involve us. So we have to look at our whole thing, so it's like I'll have the mom who'll say, oh, Matt, you know what? This year I'm going to spend so much more time working out. And then, it's like, pretty soon, 2 kids are homesick. So her week's blowing on that, or, the project. So there's a lot of stuff. So that's why it's important to do things in a way that you don't set yourself up for failure, or not even failure. I don't like, that you don't set yourself up to not be as successful as you want to be in that, because to not have those negative feelings that come back.
Because you can fizzle out if you don't have a plan in place, I feel like. And it's even like a generalized statement of saying even you want to get more healthy. A lot of times you got to look at your meal planning and things like that. Meal planning is a huge thing for people. I know that we have to do things out of convenience a lot of times. And what we have realized is that when you can do things like that to plan ahead, and that's just one example. I mean, you just have to look at it all logistically and see how you can arrange your schedule to make this plan come to fruition.
Exactly. And be flexible, though, and not beat yourself up, because sometimes we'll have a plan and I'll say, okay, I'm going to do this. And then my schedule changes or something happens. And it's like, okay, that's fine. We'll just put it off. I'll just rearrange stuff, but not sitting there throwing your hands up and saying, oh, well, that didn't work, so I guess I'm done.
Right.
It really does take so much practice. If we're going to be healthy in mind, body, and spirit, it takes practice. It takes really investment in the individual. You know what I mean?
And even if you don't make something happen on that day that you wanted to get accomplished, realizing you don't have to wait till the next January 1. just keep going along.
Really, or the next Monday that never comes.
Yeah.
But I think that's really what it is. It gets to be that place where people really get so stuck in their head.
Yeah.
Because this kind of ties into the last week's podcast of getting stuck. And I think that's what it is. Or sometimes people say, I'm going to start working out or eating better. And then it's, they've done it for a week or two and they're like, well, nothing's happened. And they'll say, well, I remember when I was younger. And once again, we go to that place of, and we don't really give ourselves that grace and stuff like that we really should for the things that have changed in our lives. It's funny because I always ask my clients, this time of year, I'll always ask them, do you have a New Year's resolution? And several of mine said, why would I do that to myself? Because by 4 days in, I'm going to break it. So why bother?
And if you know that about yourself, for sure, you are not of the mindset to make the change.
So what then I will say to them is, what is one positive change you're going to make in your life for you? Because that's what it is. It's what is that positive thing that you can do for yourself or for others. And this, we're big proponents of paying it forward, showing kindness, taking time to do those things that are really important and relevant. And just doing it, being kind to the person, at the grocery store or whatever. Guess what? They have rough lives too. It's not a job I would want. Fast restaurant, the hospitality industry. I think that would be brutal.
Oh, gosh. I was grateful when I didn't have to work in food service anymore.
Why is that?
Yeah, that's rough. That is a rough job. It's a thankless job sometimes.
When you think back on it, for you, do you have those customers that just stood out?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What was the one?
Oh, so I was working at Burger King and this guy came in and he had ordered something and a sandwich with no mayo. And we had a line of people out the door. He got his order, and of course it had mayo on it. He came back up there, slammed the sandwich, and smeared the mayonnaise, the whole sandwich, all over the counter. Said, I said no effing mayonnaise. So, yeah, I understand sometimes people go through stuff, man, with that food service. I remember cleaning tomatoes off of walls and everything else. It's rough.
So once again, those are thankless jobs, people. Be kind, you don't rub your mayo on the counter.
Yeah.
But it is, and you see that and you see all this. And I think that even if that becomes one of the things, because I think when we're proactive with our lives, and I think that when we sit there and show kindness to others, that does something for us. It has that thing where it kind of bounces back at you and stuff. And I think that's so important because you start to feel better. Mm-hmm. You really do. And I think we're just not doing enough of it, man.
Yeah.
It's switching mindset, and I guess, everybody was kind of like the new moon comes out. I guess that's a time for change too. Anytime there's something new or just having that opportunity.
Well, I think too that even just thinking about where the idea comes from of New Year's resolutions, obviously it's a new year and that's just something that people think of, starting something new or stopping something old. But I think too that a lot of it comes through society promotes that a lot with after the new year, it becomes advertising about all the exercise equipment. I start seeing it right at the end of December, man, you start seeing all of the different advertisements for health equipment and things like that. So I think that there's some pressure in that way too, and that's where people get this idea of New Year's resolution.
Okay, and how many of you out there, as you're sitting there and you're looking around your home and you look over and you see the treadmill that has now become the place you hang your coats or hats or that or the stepper or the,
yeah.
All those machines, the workout machines. And
oh, it's January. It's time to dust it off.
Where's that machine? I got to find it. Oh, get rid of the clothes. Get rid of the clothes. I'm going to get on it. I'm going to do my one day. Okay, put it back on. Put the clothes back on. That was good. But that's the thing. We spend a lot of money. We do a lot of stuff. And then we
beat ourselves up if we don't follow through. If we get the 4 days in and we're saying, we're done.
I almost made a week.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what it is. I think that so much of the time, we're doing stuff like that and we don't have to. But it's taking that time and it really is paying attention. And I think it's also sitting with yourself and saying, what is it I want to change in my life to enhance my life? Because I think sometimes we buy, everybody does the same New Year's resolution that falls away, a month or two into it or stuff like that. And it's not like they're really giving thought. And I think maybe that's too why they're not as successful as well is because, well, I guess I better work out so I can wear my bikini or my little Speedo shorts or whatever it is. But it's really not what they want. It's kind of going along or going with the flow of what other people are doing and stuff.
I think it has to become more intrinsic and you have to understand the value of it. I think that, not that that's not a reason to, for example, if it's losing weight or whatever and you think, you want to wear the bikini or whatever like that. But I think, too, when you can actually break it down and look at, what you're doing for your health and how much better you feel from it and that kind of thing, it just makes it more intrinsic in that way.
Well, and I think the other thing that's interesting when you just said that, made me think of this, is that oftentimes people, say, for instance, if it's the thing of I want to lose weight to get in my bikini, people will start working out, but they will still be eating really unhealthy chips and ice cream and all the processed foods or whatever it is. And then that frustration comes in. Once again, that's why there's a reason for doing those plans because some of these things work hand in hand.
Oh, it definitely works hand in hand. You're not going to feel like putting the time and effort into it if you're not putting the right thing in. So
exactly. So if I'm there and, I've now worked out 2 months and I'm thinking in my head, man, my results should look better than this. Then I have to sit down and say, okay, well, what else am I doing or what am I not doing?
Yeah.
I think, whenever we make those New Year's resolutions, especially if they're about something internal, now if it's organization or whatever, but even that has a thought process and stuff that goes into it. It's knowing those relationships. So if it is something like I'm going to be healthier, so then if I go and start eating healthier, but I go sit and become a couch potato, and there's not a balance in that.
It doesn't line up.
So it's really, if you really are those people who want to sit there and say, I want to be more healthy or whatever that is, look at the whole entire piece of it, because that's why people get discouraged. I'm going to eat healthier, and so therefore I'm going to lose weight and I want to feel better, but then they're not doing, once again, if you're going to have no physical activity with it, or I'm going to have physical activity, but I'm not going to change my eating habits. Those are relationships.
That's why you have to get down to the bare bones of planning and things like that. Even like I was saying about being more organized in that, it started with me cleaning up my space. That was the first step in my process. I knew that I couldn't even organize my thoughts really with the clutter around. So I had to start there. And I think that that's true basically with anything. It's like if you decide that you're going to make some different decisions financially, things you want to invest in or things like that, you have to look at where your money's going and have a plan in place. Look at budgeting. I think a lot of times we've had that discussion before, people, when we talk about budgeting and things like that, a lot of times my brain would go to a place of when you say budgeting, it sounds like a lack of, but really that wasn't the case. We were looking at how those funds are allocated.
Absolutely. And I think those plans and really seeing and the words, we talked about how sometimes words get in the way of what we really want and what we're really desiring, but we're letting a semantic get in that's blocking us from whatever it is that we're needing. So it's learning how do you use a different word. And so we call it financial planning, or we can call it anything else in order to change that mental block. And speaking of mental, I think one of the things I work with, of course, with my clients is like, what is your mental health goal? What is that goal for you? And what is it you want to change? How do you want to become more mentally healthy? When we look at today, and we have seen such a huge increase in whether it's our suicide rate or just our mental health issues in general, I guess my thing would be, for people, invest in your mental health, invest in taking care of you. And sometimes it's a matter of, because I often hear this in my sessions, is I don't know how to set boundaries. Mm-hmm. I'm miserable the way I am, say with this person or whatever, but I don't know how to set the boundary with it so that I can feel better about myself. So those things, it doesn't always have to be with a therapist. You could talk with somebody and say, talking with somebody, say you can make the plan of, I'm going to talk to my friends at least once every other week or whatever that is, or I'm going to go out with friends and one of the things that we work on and, we've talked about is the importance of our relationships and how do we nurture those relationships and things like that. Because sometimes we get so caught up in our lives. Well, think about eating right, but we do not understand that there's another piece of it that's not being filled up. And sometimes that's our human connection or whatever that is. You know what I mean? And so people will be there, I'll do this, but they'll compromise this. And there's a balance in it. And I think it's finding that harmony in our lives that really helps us. And that's why it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And too much of the time, I think with, like you said, with those New Year's resolutions, it becomes such an all or nothing in that thing of looking so far into the future.
Absolutely. And I think a great goal as far as like a New Year's resolution or something like that is to create more peace in your life.
Oh, God, yeah.
If that's, like you say, working on the mental health piece of it, definitely should do that anyway. Everybody should, because it comes back to, we've talked about self-love through many of the episodes. And I feel like that should definitely be a number one goal, because you can definitely give more when you have more to give.
One of the things we talked about is because, we are constantly getting rid of stuff because you and I are not about clutter. Mm-hmm. But a lot of my clients, it's like, they start to realize, because I'll tell them, what does your space look like? And, now that I'm in their homes, they can just show me sometimes, this. And they're like, okay, I get it. See, this is what we got. This is why we have a problem.
The telehealth.
This is why we have a problem with you feeling the way you feel, not because of telehealth. Telehealth is a great thing.
But telehealth is how you're able to see.
Yes. And when I was talking with these clients, and I said, one of the things is I said, the more you declutter your space, I said, just start with decluttering. I said, and you just have to do this part of the desk or whatever. Goes and does that. And then pretty soon, they're doing it. So it looks good. So then they always come back to me with this, I don't understand because I'm feeling better. My head does not feel full. Well, the reason your head feels full is because every time you look out and you see clutter, it clutters your head. Because then in your head, you're thinking, oh my God, I know I've got to take care of that. Monday or New Year's resolution. That's Monday or New Year's resolution thing.
And the stack gets higher and higher.
And I think that's what it is. It's that thing of something simple we don't realize. But, that's one of the things we talked about that is our goal. And we are waiting till spring, but we're doing that intentionally because it's a little cold right now.
Yeah, to clean out the garage and that.
When we did it a year ago, or it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We got this bright idea. We said, we're going to go do this. And we donated so much. It's an organization here called God's Pantry that helps out the people
in need.
Yeah. So, come. First time, 37 bins, 24 boxes. I mean, lots and lots. But we still go out there and we look in our garages like, why do we still have so much crap in here?
And I haven't looked at it since the 2 years ago that we went through all the stuff. I'm like, we still have stuff in there where we're not using it. We have got to get rid of some more stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the cool thing, once again, because we do it together. And once again, I hope that means it's going to be more successful. Hey, we did get down the trees.
I think we're making little changes, and we already started making some changes even before the new year began, even contacting our friends like you were mentioning a few minutes ago. It's wonderful that you have those friendships that even though you live far away or whatever and you don't get to see each other all the time and you can call them up and you can pick up right where you left off, and it's that kind of connection. But what we have found the last, month or two, we have been talking with our friends more over the phone or whatever, even though they're not right here, and how much it rejuvenates us and just fills us up by spending that time just talking.
And we're doing it not via text.
Right.
So sometimes we're doing, now everything is video and stuff like that. So sometimes we're doing it during video, sometimes we're doing it. And then before you know it, we've talked for an hour and a half.
Yeah. I really feel like that has helped us so much. I've just felt more positive and just, we have these uplifting conversations, and I feel like that it really helps in just all aspects.
I'm in agreement. And, relationship building, once again, we talked about, there are so many different kinds of resolutions people, or if you want to call it that, or new goal setting that people can do that are not those got to get, lose weight, eat right, all those things, I think there's, we look at those things on a smaller level of sometimes it's the simple things that we do, like we've said before, making the bed, starting the day out with that. Because sometimes we are bogged down by a lot of stuff. And I work in a profession where everybody who comes through my door has something that is bogging them down, So it's kind of like trying to unclutter the brain in order to make it more peaceful, and just a year where you can kind of take that breath and focus on the things that are relevant and important to you more so. And it's such a hard thing because, once again, I'll ask a person, tell me 3 qualities that you really like about yourself or that you feel you do well. Yep, silence. Yeah. But if I say, are there 3 things you really need to work on? Oh my goodness, I am not patient. I'm not this, I'm not that. And, I might ask for 3 and I get 27 of them. And so that just tells you how we really have to make this a year where we're being kind to ourselves, where we're giving those positive message to ourselves and in aligning yourself with people who are there for you, who encourage you.
Yeah, help motivate you. You have to change your headspace.
For us, you listeners, we are so immensely grateful that that's why doing this every week has become something we enjoy. We look forward to it now. Not that we didn't before. It was just, when you start something new, it's you kind of don't know what you're doing. I don't know if we still know what we're doing, but we're still doing it. But it was that thing of we set that goal.
Yeah.
And even if it was like, I don't know what we're going to, it doesn't matter. get our steps. And as we get our steps, we start talking, we brainstorm, we come up with stuff. And then I told her the other day, I said, this is life's journey and everything in between. For goodness sakes, how could we even have to pause to think about it? I mean, it's everything. It is absolutely everything. But what we do want with this podcast is for people to be able to listen to it and walk away with something and say, that resonated with me. That might be something that's going to help me to have a better day or a better moment or whatever. So that's important for us.
Yeah.
That message, to encourage disenfranchised people, to encourage people to follow their dreams no matter what other people say. And sometimes that's a great resolution or a great way to start out the new year is, what is it I really want? What does I really love to do? And then go start doing that.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little step at a time. We have a friend who likes to go camping.
Uh-huh.
And hiking. And the hiking part we get, except the one she wants to go on, that's
Well, it's a 2-day hike, I guess, really. Well, not for some. Some people could do the whole hike in one day, but she was suggesting about breaking it into 2 days. So she was saying about camping out on the trail. I'm not really sure how I feel about that because we're not talking about a camper.
So what did you go Google right away? Or look up right away? That you sent the group text of what you needed?
The fold-out toilet seat. Yeah, I don't know about sleeping outside overnight. I'm still wrestling with that.
So, and I said to her, I said, well, you know, honey, they make cots and stuff like that. And what was your response?
How long has it been since you slept on a cot? Are you going to be able to hike the next day?
That was not words of encouragement. Just it's like, dang.
I think I'd be willing to try it out.
We haven't said absolutely no to it.
Right.
It's one of those that it's still, of course, we have no camping equipment.
No, someone suggested bringing a mule to carry it all. I thought that was not a bad idea.
Really? But one of the things I really liked about our friend, what she said is, we go as fast as the slowest
hiker.
Yeah. The slowest hiker sets the pace. And I thought that was so cool because, once again, that's that encouragement.
Right.
It's not about her wanting to be the first one there or to rush up the hill or do all that. It really is about, we go at the pace of the slowest one. And I think that's one of the reasons I like hiking with Kathy G too. Because, we've done hikes in a few different places and we're, except of course she always, we're there like, okay, Kathy, we're done. This is the end for us. Okay, well, you just wait right here. I got to go see what's around the next bend.
Yeah.
And I said, Kathy, there's always going to be a next bend.
Yeah.
Okay, but you guys start walking, and we'll turn around. We started walking back when we were in over doing Antelope Canyon. So we turn around, and there's Kathy. I don't know how many bends she went around, but I know she did. But that's just her. And then she just catches up with this, and we go. But I think that's the cool thing. It's encouraging. It's all of those things. It's even why we love vacationing with Sandra, because Sandra loves to see the sunset.
No,
the sunrise. We like to see the sunset. You see how this does not match. But what's great, you know what? Sandra goes and does Sandra. She loves to get up, watch the sunrise. We love to sleep through it. We're on vacation. We love to see the sunset. It's all good. We went to one and she says, hey, they're doing this bike tour thing. Do you want to go? Or they're like, nope. And off she goes. Yeah. But that's what's cool. It's not like in those instances, even with that, when you have those relationships, it's them encouraging you, but you're encouraging them to do what they have to do, and they allow you to do what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And once again, it's those relationship building, and it's that thing of there's an empowerment to it.
Yeah.
Having those kind of relationships is super important to us. We value them. We treasure them. We're already talking with Heather about our hiking with her and Harry, her dog. I don't know if Tala's going to be up to, I don't know. She likes to be out there, but she's a little unruly. Tala really does march to the beat of her own drum.
For sure.
She's just wants to go frolic and do all that kind of stuff.
She loves to play, so yeah.
You know, but I mean, those are some of the goals that we have set, but they're goals that are in alignment with the stuff that we already do. You know, I don't like to choose things that are so not in alignment with where I am at this moment, because if I don't align stuff, I'm not going to be as successful. And I think that's the thing. Kind of sit back, look at what is aligning with me where I'm at and where's my mindset. What is it that I really can do? I tell people, if you can't do 10,000 steps, do 2,000. If you can't do 2,000, do 1,000. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not, sometimes it's, even if you want to call it New Year's resolutions or whatever, it's sometimes doing the baby steps in order to meet the goal, instead of saying, my goal is I'm going to lose, and we're using weight, but it, you know, you could do, you know, it could be, Christy, by January 27th, I'm going to be completely organized. Well, that is an unrealistic expectation.
Well, especially if I haven't put all the pieces in place to make it happen. So, yes.
Exactly.
You have to really look at it.
Yeah. So if it's a program she has to use, if she didn't have the program, how can she be organized? Do you see what I mean? It's like these things have to be put in place in order to help us be successful. Right. And, you know, hopefully you have those friends or spouses that say, that's a little unrealistic. You know, how are you going to make that happen?
But you do have to set the intention first, and then just take those small steps. Even like we've talked about, even just something as simple as making the bed every morning is a way of setting the intention, and you've made one accomplishment for the day. And once you make those little accomplishments, I think that that's what leads to the big goals.
Absolutely. And it's that consistency with it. And, you know, and once again, it's not how much we do, it's how consistent we do it. And so I think these are the reasons that people are not being successful, is because their goals are too big. There's not a plan. There's no assistance, and it's not aligning. So if people could get those things in place, have a plan, have it be in alignment with what you're doing and what's already going on in your life, then that's a big thing. Having the support around you to encourage you, to keep you motivated. Motivation is hard for people. It really is. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you're tired. I always tell, and I don't know what it is. Well, Tuesday's my Monday. End of Tuesday, I'm done. So it's not my night for cooking or that. So that's why usually I'll prepare something, and
that's why we put a plan in place. So whenever it's Tuesday, we know it's got to be something that's convenient and just easy.
Oh, and because, trust me, I didn't realize it at first. But, you know, when you order out every Tuesday, then you start to think, why are we ordering out every Tuesday?
Yeah.
And it's true. Because of that, I had to look at what was already in place, and my schedule's already in place. So I thought, oh my goodness, that's what it is. If I get off at 6:00, and before I was getting off at 7. So it's like, I'm getting off at 7:00. I don't want to cook. I don't even want to do anything. And so we had to look at that. We had to look at the bigger picture of it and get everything in alignment. So on those particular days, because I don't work Monday, we do our meal preps for the week. And then I'll tell her, okay, we're going to have this, or this. And then if it's something I can say, okay, I'm going to start marinating it. And then you got to put the stove on it, the oven on at this time or whatever. So we're working as a team in order to have that be more successful. And I think that's what we're saying. Put things in place that are going to help you be successful. And not just because it's a New Year's resolution, but because it's a lifestyle change, because it's something that's going to enhance your life in some, and bring that sense of peace to you. Because we all deserve to have that peace. We all deserve to have that time where we're just there. We don't have all the drama and all the hassle and all whatever else goes in. So,
and you can start at any time.
Yes, you don't have to wait till Monday. Though you might have to wait till Monday if you listen to this on Sunday, because you won't have all these great ideas until Monday. And it's like, oh, that's why that first resolution didn't work. Scratch that. Let's start here. And that's the cool thing, is I tell people, anything that you have and then you try it and it doesn't work out for you, it's amazing, because then you can erase it and you can try something else. Nothing is written in stone and cannot be changed, modified, rectified, all those other things. Okay? So I tell people, Even if you started a New Year's resolution and, we're only 3 days in and you didn't do it. And now you're sitting there thinking, man, I stuck. Can't even do that for a week or whatever, goes on in your head and those negative messages. Hopefully you listen to this and you say, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to find something small to start with. And from the small, it's going to build and it's going to do that. Sometimes in order to reach a goal, we have to build a bridge. And sometimes the bridge is really that process and remembering. But if I don't like working out, but I want the body of somebody who works out, if I already start by hating the process, I am not going to be successful. I am not. But if I change it and I sit there, but if my thing is, oh my God, to have that body, I'm going to have to work out, an hour and a half or 2 hours a day. And I don't have it because people will tell me this all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, I just don't have the time. They're like, well, dude, how long are you taking? Well, I do this 2-hour workout. They're like, okay, so what happens if we cut it down to an hour? Well, how do you even do that? I said, you consolidate down. You maybe do 15 minutes of cardio instead. And then you do 45 minutes of your workout or, I said, and then, or you spread it or you make a variation on it or whatever, because they're hating the time even. I have to put too much time into it. It's one of those things, it's like my one 19-year-old who he heard that girls really like guys with 6-pack abs. So I said, oh, that's really cool. He goes, and he's all disappointed. When I see him, I go, well, honey, why are you disappointed? He picks up his shirt and he goes, well, where are they at? He's one of my kids on the autism spectrum. And the grandma, he's been doing his crunches and stuff for a week.
They should be there already.
But you know what? He just said what everybody really feels. He just said it out loud, because it is. It's like we really want those fast results.
Yeah.
But once again, if I hate the process getting there, I'm not going to do it. But my hate of the process is my creation because I have put an expectation that may not be realistic, or I'm doing my expectation based on what somebody else says, does, blah, blah. Make it yours. If it's you get up and you do 20 crunches or one plank and you call that good for the day, then by golly, call it good for the day.
Yeah, because
but just do it every day.
Yeah, be consistent.
Be consistent.
I think that's one of the key things is keeping that consistency. So don't make the, goal so something outlandish that you can't feel like that you can accomplish, within your schedule or within the time frame that you're working. You have to have it be something realistic. And like you say about starting small, and then that leads to other things. Maybe your schedule changes down the road and you can devote more time or those kinds of things, but you start somewhere.
And I think that's what it is. So hopefully as you're listening today, you're able to get some ideas and realize that making changes to our life to have a better quality of life is something that we should be doing and not waiting for a new year or Monday to start. Any day, any moment is a good time. Really sitting down, looking at what it is that you're wanting. Is it in alignment with what you're doing at this moment? And if it's not, how can you incorporate it in slowly in order to make, to put in alignment with it? Find those friends or family or spouses. I guess spouses are counted as family these days. No. Depends on the day. No. That you can talk with about your goals and them encouraging you with it. Those kind of things. Start off small. And I think the biggest thing is enjoy the process, understand the value of the process, and do your best not to look at the total end result. Have a motivating thing for it, but it's not the priority. It's the process really that is the priority in order for people to get where they need to be.
Just focusing on the step in front of you.
Yes. And I think that's the biggest thing. And, we'll keep you posted on how we're doing with Miss Organized over here and, Miss Decluttering the garage.
Hey, I've made a start.
I'm doing my thing with my workouts, because I had to stop beating myself up because I couldn't work out as long or all that other stuff. And I realized it doesn't really matter. What matters is I'm doing something every day. And, I think those are the important things. And so we'll keep you posted on our progress. And, you can always keep us posted on yours because you know how to get in touch with us at twogirlsinapod.com.
Yes, twogirlsinapod.com is the website. And The email address is podcast.twogirlsinapod@hotmail.com.
Yeah. So we would love to hear from you guys. What are some of the things that you feel like it's important for you to work on? And also keeping us updated on the progress of that.
And of course, we're on Facebook as well.
Yes. Because, you got to be everywhere these days. I'm telling you. But we so appreciate it. And once again, one of the things for us is for our new year, as it was for the year before and a half a year before that, was to continue to be consistent with our podcast, to continue to have these conversations, because, we are so grateful for each and every one of our listeners. And we are loving this process because in this process, we're learning a lot about ourselves. And I feel like our quality of life has really improved.
And learning about others and meeting a lot of people.
Yes.
It's been rewarding.
And our other goal is to have more and more interviews for the upcoming year. So we're excited about it. You guys, we really do want to wish you a happy new year and hope that each and every one of you meets those goals that you have set for yourself.
And a happy, healthy, prosperous 2023 for everyone.
Yes. Thank you so much once again. We will be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.